you guys. I don't know what to say. I feel just terrible for the nachos that were wasted by that Corey Seager home run. I thought at first that they were nachos, and then upon further review, I thought, wait, no cheese, no salsa. Maybe they're chicken tenders. And then upon even further review, there's a chance that it was a cup of cheese that still had a cover on it, and still the nachos in the cellophane bag that sometimes nachos come in at ballparks. Now, it's been a minute since I have been at a ball game. I've been doing a lot of post-game shows the last 2 years, so it's been a minute. I don't know how the nachos come anymore if they're not in the nacho helmet, which I still say is the greatest of the last 40 years. I mean, I think it's the greatest thing at the ballpark since Cracker Jacks. Okay, and the nachos that were hit by Corey Seager, I don't know how Corey Seager hasn't been arrested. You don't waste nachos like that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what else happened in the game yesterday, but that's my main focus today, is to give you 59 minutes more of nacho coverage. We're going to go live to the scene, to the Philadelphia Police Department, and see if Corey Seager's been brought in yet for wasting a fan's nachos. Oh, and also hitting a home run off Jeff Hoffman. But other than that, it's mainly the nachos that I want to focus on today. If you know me, if you listen to the show, if you watch the show, then you know that a little piece of my heart died when I saw wasted nachos at the ballpark. I was really hoping that they were chicken tendies. They were not chicken tendies. Other than that, Ranger Suarez is awesome. I did this on the postcast last night, but in case you didn't see it, here you go. These are just, I was looking up words to substitute great, to take great out and substitute a different word, because I'm just running out of things to say about Ranger Suarez and how incredible he is. Let's see. Skillful is up tier. Expert. I like masterful. Masterful is one of those words that I constantly go to. We all have those words that are in our heavy rotation. Pun intended. Ace is on this list. Oh, look, I didn't even realize this. Oh, what a happy accident. I didn't even realize. Crackerjack. He's a real crackerjack. Yeah, it's a humdinger. Clever. Old. I don't like that. Trained. Trained, you see at the bottom of the screen there. For the people on the podcast, I literally put up a list of words from the thesaurus. Trained. I know a lot of people that are trained, but also suck. Ranger Suarez, I wouldn't go with trained. That sounds like you're underselling it a wee bit. But he has been fantastic. Just fantastic. And last night, we'll get to the start and all that stuff, but a little worried in the early goings of it, being that he had thrown so many pitches, and we'll break it down for you. But I was definitely nervous as things were starting out, because the ERA has been fantastic. Right now, it's at 136. I think going into yesterday's game, he hit 137. He allowed one earned run, went down to 136 over 7 innings. It takes one bad game for all of a sudden that ERA to not look impressive. Just look over at Zach Wheeler, for instance, has the 6-run game against the Marlins. All of a sudden, 2.30 ERA ain't that impressive, But Ranger Suarez pitches the Phillies to a win. Bryce Harper hits the Phillies to a win. Alec Bohm just continues to mash. This is the point I have gotten at with this Phillies team this year, with how incredible they've been. And we got the numbers for you, and we'll break it down. But when it comes to this Phillies team, if there's a leadoff base runner, I just go, there's a run. It takes you back to the days of Harry Callis and Richie Ashburn, when there'd be a leadoff walk, for instance, and you'd hear Whitey say something to the effect of, that's going to go, that's going to come back and get you, something like that. And then Harry would say something along the lines of, just like that. And then you knew that the Phillies were going to be haunted by that. And the Phillies now haunt other teams with that. And this has been probably the greatest example this year of watching the Phillies make sure that leadoff runner comes around and scores. And Alec Bohm has been the most. You're talking about two guys that are machines on this team. One is named Ranger Suarez. The other is named Alec Bohm. And I just continue to sit back and marvel at all of this. because we've got more years for you to now look back on. The 2 years I constantly reference with this start to the season is 1993 and 1976. The last time the Phillies had a start to the season like this. And then I also go back to 1912 when you talk about a starting pitcher like Ranger Suarez having the start to the year that he is having. We got other years we're going to throw in your face as well. 1910 is one of those years. 1966 is one of those years. 1916 is one of those years. The name Grover Cleveland Alexander is going to be referenced on this program today. That's how far back you got to go, people. That's how special this season is. And if you're a takeaway, I can't imagine calling yourself a Philadelphia Phillies fan and seeing the start to this year, and your takeaway is, but they haven't played anybody. I can't imagine. I can't imagine being a Philadelphia Phillies fan and watching the first 2+ months of the season and going, yeah, but Garrett Stubbs isn't hitting baseballs. Like, I can't imagine any uber negative thing to say after watching the start to this season that the Phillies have had. Oh, and by the way, I know the Rangers aren't the Rangers of last year. I know the Rangers came in at 24-24 and are now 1 game under 500. I get it. But they are the world champions. They haven't beaten anybody. They just beat the world champions. And they'll have another crack at it today with another crack-a-jack on the mound. Taijuan Walker goes for the Phils today. This has been just such an incredible ride. It's not even June yet. And the tease they keep throwing out there is, what if the Phillies just keep doing what they've been doing over the last couple of seasons? What if their best baseball is still in front of them? I'm not going to say they're going to hit their stride in June. They have hit a stride. But what if this isn't even their best baseball? What if just winning series after series after series? What if they're, sweep after sweep after sweep? Phillies won game 1. They got 2 more games to go here against the Rangers. They could tie in May. They could get their 7th sweep of the season, which would tie as many sweeps as they had in all of last year. That's where we're at right now. If you don't want to bask in that, if you don't want to dive headfirst into the deep end of that, I don't know what to tell you. By the way, more on that promposal from Bryce Harper. I originally thought that Bryce was going to email the kid, the Jake kid, Jake. He originally said that Bryce they're going to exchange emails and set it up, and that Bryce would maybe even do a video. He's going to do a video, almost like a cameo without the cameo part of it. Kid was just going to film Bryce, or Bryce was going to tape himself saying, hey, would you go to the prom? And yeah, apparently there was going to be a video, and then Bryce just said, all right, let's just go over. Way to be. I still would have loved for that girl just to be like, oh, Tyrese Maxey was just here. I'm going to go with Billy. That would have been, oh, man, that would have been such a power move to the power move. But anyway. And I love that Bryce, after he hit the home run last night, he does the post-game interview. And they ask him last question about the promposal. And he said, hey, I'm just trying to help a homie out. How do you not love this guy? Anyway, so we'll talk about the Phillies, obviously. We'll talk about the Braves lost last night as well in a walk-off fashion in Wrigley against the Chicago Cubs. They came up huge in the bottom of the 10th inning to get the walk-off win against the Atlanta Braves. So the Braves now, is that 6 games out of the first place in the NL East? I believe that's 6 games out in the first place in the NL East. So we have all that to celebrate. Also, little confusion. I'm sorry, yesterday. I confused yesterday's OTA schedule with today's. So the players speak today. So no audio gold of Eagles players today. By the way, this show is brought to you by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Forgot to mention that when I was in mourning over the nachos for that Corey Seager home run and all that type jazz. But yeah. Also, NBA playoffs. Jason Tatum's really good at basketball, and I'll lament on that towards the end of the program. But anyway, let's start it off with your Philadelphia. Oh, there's a new NFL rule, potentially, and we'll get into that. And if the NFL does this and baseball doesn't do robo umpires for balls and strikes, I might just bang my head against the wall. Gets all that and more on today's program. But let's start it off with your Philadelphia Phillies. First off, the game itself. I mentioned that I was worried about Ranger Suarez. I was watching Rob Thompson after the game, and Rob said, well, I was worried about I wasn't worried. And I'm like, well, I was worried. I mean, good for you to not be worried at anything, but I was worried. 59 pitches through the first 3 innings for Ranger Suarez. 59 pitches through 3 innings. That is very un-Ranger-like. And that had me concerned because I didn't want to all of a sudden, bump the bullpen out. Rangers already coming off a start where it only went 5 innings in what was called a step-back game by Rob Thompson for Ranger Suarez. I'm going to give him a little bit of a break, right? I didn't like that, but all right, he gave him 5 innings. So now I'm like, wow, you're going to have back-to-back starts out with Ranger Suarez, the guy that always gives you at least 6. On a bad day, gives you 6. And you're going to have back-to-back starts of 5 innings after – this bullpen, they could continue to need some breaks. And you're going to have him only go 5 innings again. 59 pitches through 3 innings. Not great, Ranger. Not great. First 3 innings of the game. Who goes up there? Simeon goes up there. He strikes out on the slider. He gets Seager to strike out on a fastball. Grossman works a walk. Lost him at 0-2. That was also like, he had Grossman 0-2. Lost him. He worked a walk, and then he got Heim to ground out to third to end the inning. 22-pitch first inning. Okay. No real damage, so not that concerned. Then he goes to the second inning. He strikes out Duran, so he starts off the inning with a strikeout again, this time on a curveball. Then he gets Lowe to strike out. And then he gets Smith to strike out. I'm thinking, all right, there's a couple pitches there. It seems like a lot, but he struck out the side. I'm not going to complain. Then the third inning happened. And the third inning, he gives the leadoff hit to Hill, who gets a single to center field. Then Taveras goes up there. He grounds out to Cody Clemens at second. And then Simeon goes up there with the double to left field, goes down the line. He just went down and got a curveball for Ranger Suarez. Then he strikes out Seager. Grossman grounds out to short. There was no, prolonged inning with a lot of hits. It just continued to be a lot of pitches. The put-away pitches you've been dependent on for Ranger Suarez, especially in that third inning, just weren't there. But it was all said and done in the third inning. 59 pitches, 1 run, which was the saving grace of it all. 1 run, 59 pitches. He then goes through the 4th, 5th, and 6th inning. After 59 pitches through 1 through 3, he only throws 30 pitches through 4, 5, and 6. I would say he settled in rather nicely. And one of the things that was so special about it was in the 4th inning, in the 5th inning, and in the 7th inning, he allowed leadoff base runners and did not allow them to come around to score. He pitched himself out of those jams. And as I said earlier, the leadoff runner's on. That's going to be a problem. Well, not this time. For instance, in that second inning, he gave a leadoff double to Heim. Then he gets Duran to strike out or to ground out to Alec Bohm at third. Lowe grounds out to Cody Clemens at second. And then Smith flies out to right field. 8 pitches then in the 4th inning. Then he goes into the 5th inning. Hill leads off with a single, hits the first pitch of the inning, and then Ranger Suarez takes care of the rest. 2 pitch at bat to Tavares before lining out to Nick Castellanos in right. Simeon goes up there and he flies out to right field again, 3 pitches. Seager strikes out on 3 pitches using the sinker as the put-away pitch. You go through that inning, no problem in the 5th. Then you go into the 6th, leads things off by Grossman striking out, looking at a sinker. Inside, if I'm not mistaken, on the 4-pitch at bat. Heim strikes out then on a 6-pitch at bat. Durant strikes out on a 3-pitch at bat using the fastball. 13-pitch 6th inning. Oh, he was humming it in there at that point. And then a little bit of trouble in the 7th inning. Lowe gets on with the leadoff single, but then they get the 4-6-3 double play. Here's what's amazing about that part right there for Ranger Suarez. We all know, to steal the line from Stuart Scott, as cool as the other side of the pillow. That is the definition of Ranger Suarez. As cool as the other side of the pillow. When it comes to a ground ball hit to him, yawn, sip a tea, casually lofts it over to first base to get the out. But when he got that 4-6-3 double play to get a fresh start in that 7th inning, he threw a huge fist pump. Very excited that he got those outs in that 7th inning because he knew he was up against it. The pitch count was getting up there. It was the 7th inning. He's in line for the win. He also knows that it's a 1-run ball game. 2-run ball game at that point. So he knows he's got to help out here. He gets a double play, throws the huge yes, so he loves it. Then he gives up the walk to Hill in an 8-pitch at bat. I'm starting to sweat again. And then at this point, 9 strikeouts on the evening, and he strikes out Taveras again on a sinker inside. He swings over top of it. Career high 10 strikeouts for Ranger Suarez. 7 innings, 1 run, in line for the win, which would be his 9th. Spoiler, it was his 9th. They got it. And then Jeff Hoffman came in the 8th, and I don't know what the hell was going on there. But Jeff Hoffman was not Jeff Hoffman. Seager gets the 1-out home run, had to be reviewed after spoiling nachos. Jankowski, remember Jankowski? Remember that guy? He was with the Phillies for a minute. The long-haired hippie fella. He struck out. Heim got a single. Duran got an infield single to short. You got first and second with 2 outs. Rob Thompson seen enough. Hoffman out. Strom in. I believe it's now 19 consecutive scoreless innings for Matt Strom. As he got the 1 out that he needed to get, getting low to line out to Brandon Marsh in left field. Phillies then tacked on some runs for insurance. Fortunately, in the bottom of that 8th inning, they made it a 5-2 ball game, and that's where it would end. Stock got a sacrifice RBI to left field, sacrifice fly RBI. Bohm got an RBI single to left center field. Schwarber almost out at home, but just slid in there under the tag. And all was right with the world. The Phillies close it out for the victory. As for a couple of numbers that I want to make sure I get you guys about this Phillies team. First and foremost, I got to read these off here, okay? 35-14. Best record in baseball, as we know. They lead the Braves now by 6 games in the NL East. I mentioned the Braves lost to the Cubs in 10 innings. Best start to the season now. Forget about 1993. Now it's all about 1976. Phillies were 35-14 through 49 games. In 1976, Phillies right now 35-14 through 49 games. 27-6 record in their last 33 games. First time with 27 wins in a 33-game span. That's the first time. The Phillies have been around since 1883. This is the first time that they've won 27 games in a 33-game span. You know what the Phillies are on pace for? Phillies are on pace for 116 wins this season. Their franchise record is 102. Which, if you really break it down, I don't even want the Phillies to have that record. I didn't want the 102 wins, because if they didn't get 102 wins and get the record, then the St. Louis Cardinals wouldn't have been allowed as the hottest team in baseball in the postseason, and then later defeat the Phillies in the playoffs. But anyway, that's a story for another day. When it comes to the historic numbers that surround this team, check this out. Ranger Suarez, Paul Casella of MLB.com put these numbers out there last night. Ranger Suarez, first pitcher to start 9-0 with a sub 150 ERA through 10 starts since Juan Marichal in 1966. First pitcher to win 9 straight since Earl Monroe. Wow. Earl Moore in 1910. I mentioned earlier, the earliest year we have mentioned is, 1883 I just mentioned, but in terms of Ranger Suarez, 1912, when they started using the ERA, keeping track of all that type jazz. 1910 is the new year with Ranger Suarez. Is that not insane? And he's got the 3rd lowest ERA through 10 starts in franchise history. Grover Alexander had a ERA, 3rd lowest ERA. Grover Alexander had 1916, 124 ERA, and 1950, 131 ERA. Yeah, but Garrett Stubbs isn't hitting. But who have they played? Alec Bohm, also a huge reason as for the Phillies' success. Paul Casella. More on Alec Bohm. Since the start of last year, entering last night's ball game. Now he had 2 RBIs. Still leads the league now in RBIs, if I'm not mistaken. I meant to double check that. Does Alec Bohm with his 43rd and 44th RBIs on the season. He's tied with Jose Ramirez of the Indians. Geez, the Indians, the Cleveland Guardians. Or as I recently learned, the Guards. From a friend of mine who's a sports broadcaster out there. The Guards. Okay. Anyway, Alec Bohm, since the start of last season, entering last night's ballgame, 2 RBIs last night. Alec Bohm, 330 with men on base, 5th best in baseball. Runners in scoring position, 9th best in baseball with a 355 batting average with runners in scoring position. Runners in scoring position with 2 outs, 350 batting average. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs, 2nd best since the start of last year going into last night. All go up after tonight, according to Paul Casella, of course. Only Bohm and Mookie Betts rank in the top 10 in all 3 categories. I've been talking about it a lot when it comes to Alec Bohm and what he's brought to the table since coming up to the big leagues. He was clutch ready from the start of his career to now. Always hit well with runners in scoring position. Oh, as a rookie, was one of the best in Major League Baseball with runners in scoring position. And now he has carried it in to be the cleanup hitter. And this really dawned on me last night. It's like one of those things that, like, you know, but you don't realize, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, obviously, Alec Bohm is now the cleanup hitter of the Philadelphia Phillies. But, like, think about this. You have a team with Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. I mean, we all know what Nick Castellanos is now, but still, Nick Castellanos is a name that most people recognize, I think, in Major League Baseball. JT Realmuto. And your cleanup hitter on that team is Alec Bohm. How good do you have to be with those kind of notable sluggers? Not so much Nick Castellanos, but with those guys on the team, you're the cleanup guy. You're the guy that has relied on the most to drive in those runs. You're the guy that already took over for JT Realmuto after Rob Thompson looked at it and said, well, there's no denying it. Alec Bohm should be our cleanup hitter. And Alec Bohm has been cleaning up. I mean, you look at last night's game, for instance, and every time he has an opportunity to drive somebody in, that's exactly what he does. I mean, I mentioned Bryce Harper gets the leadoff walk. He comes around to score thanks to Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm in last night's game got things started with that RBI single to right in the 4th inning. They got the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber got the RBI single that brought Marsh home in the 3rd inning. That made it a 1-1 ball game. Then Alec Bohm stepped up in the 4th inning after the leadoff walk by Bryce Harper, brought him around to score. It was a 2-1 ball game. Then Harper homered in the 6th to make it 3-1. Seager got the home run in the bottom of the 8th off Jeff Hoffman to make it a 3-2 game. Bohm came up with the RBI double in the 8th to make it a 4-2 ball game, and then Stott hit the sac fly RBI to left field to make it a 5-2 ball game. By the way, Duran in left field. If he was a Philly, we'd all have heart palpitations every time he tried to field a baseball. That was kind of scary yesterday if you were a Texas Rangers fan. Fortunately, I'm not. That was pretty rough to say. But anyway, Alec Bohm just continues to be incredible. And looking at his numbers right now after last night, so this includes last night's ball game and what you've seen from Alec Bohm so far this year, is just how he continues to mash with runners in scoring position. And what I also find really interesting is that Alec Bohm does not have deep counts. Alec Bohm goes out there and looks for that pitch to hit, and if he sees that pitch he wants early, he takes a hack. And more often than not, he is ready to fire. Going into last night's game, also worth noting that in the month of May, Alec Bohm was hitting 266. Not a lot to brag about, unfortunately. But goes out there and gets a 2-hit night and helps the Phillies to the victory. Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, your 1 through 4 hitters all had at least 2 hits last night. Harper with the walk went 2 for 3 with his 11th home run of the season. By the way, that baseball that he demolished in last night's game, 422 feet to dead center field over the batter's eye in center field. That was pretty awesome watching that all play out. After the game, you're listening to the guys in the clubhouse, Rob Thompson, Bryce Harper, and they just continue, and Ranger Suarez through his interpreter. Through every single one of these guys is just marveling at at the other guy. As hot as Alec Bohm is, as hot as Bryce Harper has been, as hot as Ranger Suarez has been, everybody is impressed by somebody else. Even with this historic start, Ranger Suarez is talking about how he got hits last night. Like it really is something special. And to see the Braves, who are still a pretty damn good baseball team, fall 6 games behind the Phillies, to see the Braves struggling against the Cubs, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a pinch me moment when you talk about the Phillies and everything they have going on for themselves this year. It has been absolutely incredible, and I'm here for it. We're all here for it. Phillies will be back at it today. 6:40 start time again. Ranger Suarez gets the ball for the Phillies. We'll tell you more about that. Excuse me, Ranger Suarez. Taijuan Walker gets the ball for the Phillies tonight. Pretty amazing. Moving it over to the Eagles. First off, I don't know if you guys have seen this rule, and I don't know where you guys are at on this. But this is pretty wild. So there's a report out there that the NFL in the preseason is going to experiment with spotting the football. Essentially, using technology to determine the distance gained or lost with the football. It'll essentially eliminate bad spots. It'll eliminate us saying, oh, well, it depends on where the spot is, which I draw a direct correlation to like balls and strikes. Like last night, for instance, I mean, any baseball game, we've seen it a million times, where a pitch is outside, but it's called a strike, okay? I am very much looking forward to the NFL doing this in the technology age that we're in. And I got to give credit to somebody. Stephen Glenside, okay, who was a caller at WIP. I talked to him a lot. He was a wing bowl judge. I remember Steve was always on this. He was always on the idea of once he heard that Chip Kelly was putting microchips in players' shoulder pads, which now, by the way, everybody does, and everyone's monitoring everybody's movement at practice, next-gen stats to follow players throughout the field and how fast they're running and all that stuff. That's all monitored. So if they're putting chips in shoulder pads, why can't they put something in the football to know where that's at? And it looks like they're going to try to do that. According to a report, they're going to try to do that, or they're going to do that in spring training, in preseason play. I don't know who would be against this. If you have the technology to know when you're right and know when you're wrong, wouldn't you want to know when you're right? What do you want to know? Oh, no, that's wrong. What do you want to eliminate the question? Oh, I mean, I love the people that are all about human error. Oh, human error is part of the game. Yeah, but does it have to be? Because human error can also piss me off in traffic. That doesn't mean it has to happen. That doesn't mean I go, yay, human error. Oh, I love human error. No, if you can eliminate it with technology and knowing where the football is, then I'd love to know where the football is. I would love to know, oh, that was great run, great tush push. Why are they only giving him 2 yards when it was 3? Now I'm happy. I would very much like them to incorporate any technology that really helps them understand what the hell is actually happening on the football field so that nobody gets ripped off. It depends on the spot. And I always thought it was really dumb when you have a guy gain some yards and then 7 other guys jump on him and you got to peel him off and be like, I know exactly where that spot was. No, you don't. You ain't fooling anybody. So that's just a general thing about the NFL. Pro or con, I'm pro 100%. As far as the Eagles go, so OTAs again resumed today. Players will address the media after practice. We talked yesterday about position battles when it comes to what the Eagles could do on the defensive line. We talked about position battles when it comes to the right guard position with Tyler Steen and Matt Hennessy and where the Eagles could go in that direction. One of the things that I am very curious about is the first impressions with veterans reporting or with veterans there. The first impressions of Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio claimed during his introductory press conference as the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator, and it wasn't even really that as much as it was just his first, because the Eagles don't do the announcements like, this is our new offensive coordinator, this is our new defensive coordinator. They just rolling out like he's been here the whole time. One of the things that he was asked about was, hey, there was some fallout there in Miami with some players not really liking you too much. That's the first I'm hearing of that, Vic Fangio said. Really? No one ever bothered to tell you that the players didn't really like you that much, apparently, in Miami? I find that hard to believe. But one of the things I did look forward to, and I didn't talk about this yesterday, is I want to know the first impressions of the players. Now, there have been some players that have come out and talked about it, Brandon Graham being one of them. You know, just the very early goings of it. This will be the first actual, like, practice where the veterans are there, the rookies are there, and Vic Fangio has his defense, and he's really starting the install, if you will. Even if it's not in a schematic area, it's going to be in a nice to meet you area where you're going to really understand this guy's demeanor as your new defensive coordinator. And if you're a veteran like Brandon Graham, or if you're a rookie like Quentin Mitchell, for instance, you're going to be looking at this guy like, okay, how is this guy's approach going to be? Is he going to be an arm around guy? Is he going to be a yell and scream guy? Is he going to be a hard ass that supposedly can't relate to today's modern NFL player? What's he going to be like? I really look forward to hearing the players after practice today, especially on the defensive side of the football, talk about Vic Fangio and the type of personality that he really has and what kind of control he has over the practice. It's not nearly as vital, the news after today, as I think it will be. Like, I think Kellen Moore won't be as vital as far as the personality goes because he doesn't have that same type of reputation. I'm expecting everyone to be calling Kellen Moore a genius. I'm expecting Kellen Moore to be a breath of fresh air. I'm expecting Kellen Moore to get compliments like, yeah, you could really tell that he's smart. One of the things Jalen Hurts talked about was that you could tell that Kellen Moore just is a really smart football guy. The only personality that I'm really concerned about that we could actually get a little bit of a glimpse of to see what kind of response or see what kind of relationship he has with his players is Vic Fangio. And it could just be the tip of the iceberg. It could just be all hunky-dory in mini camp, essentially. But this is how everything starts. It's very true. It gets said a lot, but it's very true. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Vic Fangio is coming in here with a reputation. But that reputation goes out the window if you're able to connect with players. Players can decide in their first meeting with you, their first practice with you, whether or not you're going to be a guy that they're going to run through a wall for. One of the things that I took away from watching in-season Hard Knocks was that when it came to the scheme, players and I also took away from the Omar Kelly story in Miami last year was that, yeah, they might not have liked his personality, but scheme-wise, players like that scheme. And one of the things the players were talking about on the in-season Hard Knocks episode was it episode 7, I think it was, around the 27-minute mark, if I remember that correctly off the top of my head. Players sitting around, defensive players sitting around their table, and they're all talking about Vic Fangio. And one of the words they kept on going back to was freedom. And once you understand the freedom that Vic Fangio's defensive scheme allows you, that's where you can really start to have success in this defense. So, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, enjoy the freedom. Reed Blankenship, enjoy the freedom. What that freedom means to deep coverage with safeties, what that freedom means in quarters, what that freedom means when it talks about the defensive line. Because, I mean, we all know already you ain't seeing blitzes. So skinny Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter got to get that push up the middle. Bryce Huff, he's got to get to the quarterback. Josh Sweat, got to get to the quarterback. Brandon Graham, what do you got left, son? This retirement farewell tour, whatever you want to call it. What do you got left? Milt Williams, how much are you going to step up? All of that. That's what you're going to be getting out of this Vic Fangio defense, but it's all going to start with the initial relationships established. The reputation will precede him, but all that goes out the window once you have your own experience. You can hear whatever about any boss you might have had in some walk of life. Oh, this guy's a tough guy. Oh, this guy. Oh, this person. Oh, man, goodness gracious. They're real hard ass, right? And then they get there and they're like, oh, sweet as pie. And then maybe a little while down the line, something goes haywire. Somebody doesn't do their job. And then you see that reputation start to rear its ugly head. Oh, that's why he's got that reputation. It all starts with these little sessions, these little mini camps before training camp. It all starts in these OTAs. So I look forward to hearing what the players have to say about Vic Fangio. And I assure you, I will have that audio for you tomorrow, and we'll break it all down. Don't you worry. Especially if the Phillies just keep winning. Just kidding. So, yeah, we'll get into all that. Hey, before I get to the chat, I had this thought, and you guys let me know what you think of this. If, let's say, Bryce Harper, like right now in Philadelphia sports, Bryce Harper, Tyrese Maxey, those would probably be your two best promposal people. Jalen Hurts would be good too. Brandon Graham would be pretty good, you know. But let me ask you this question. Who in the history of Philadelphia sports would be the worst promposal person? Philadelphia athlete, past or present. Who would be the worst promposal? I don't know the answer to that. There's a couple of names that jump to mind, but who would you guys nominate as the worst? Like, if you wanted to get somebody to say no to you, who would be the person? Let's go down that avenue. Let's unlock that box. But first, let's tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Oh, man, you want to get in on the action? Check out MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. We can get in all the action when it comes to baseball. It comes to the NBA playoffs. Celtics winning game 1 against the Pacers. TJ McConnell. How about you, fella? Take advantage of all they have to offer at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Don't want to bet on the world of baseball? Don't want to bet on the world of basketball? Don't want to bet on sports? You can bet on politics. Yeah, that's right. What? Yeah. You can bet on the world of politics. You can also bet on television. Who's going to end up with who on one of them dating shows? You could do that if that's your bag too. At MyBookie, mybookie.ag. So download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. How about the Gametime app? Download the Gametime app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. Now, you want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show, for instance? Speaking of which, Shane Gill is throwing out the first pitch tonight. That's pretty cool. You want to go to the comedy show? Gametime app is where it's at. You get mega huge Kajunga savings on the Gametime app as they have flash ticket deals, last-minute ticket deals, and even ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. So you might miss the opening act. You might miss the middle. You'll see the headliner at a great discount on the Gametime app. One of my favorite things on the Gametime app is the Gametime guarantee. That means if you're going to a concert, you're going to a show, whatever it might be, and you find tickets in the same section or row for less, same section and same row for less money elsewhere, the Gametime app will refund your account 110% of the difference. That's the Gametime guarantee. You also have panoramic views of the seat before you buy it. And how about this? All-in pricing. So that when you go to check out, those $30 tickets aren't like, what was it? How those $30 tickets become $40 tickets? Where'd that wildly inconvenient convenience fee come from? You know what I'm saying? Not at the Gametime app with all-in pricing. So download the Gametime app. Use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. There's one more thing I wanted to get you guys. Yeah, here it is. So Alec Bohm this year, I referenced the numbers before. Let me put these up again for you. So this was going into last night. All right, that's Ranger Suarez last night. Or Ranger Suarez. That's Alec Bohm last night. Men on base, 5th in Major League Baseball since the start of last year with a 330 on base percentage. Or sorry, 330 batting average. Alec Bohm, runners on this year, 393 with a 449 on base percentage. Just for giggles, he's hitting 272 with nobody on base. All right. So runners on 393. Runners in scoring position. Alec Bohm, 388 with a 450 on base percentage. Good Lord. Runners on, 2 outs. Alec Bohm. This is the definition of clutch. Alec Bohm, .440 batting average with a .533 on-base percentage. Runners on, runners in scoring position, 2 outs. I mean, holy pots and pans, people. That's incredible. All right, let's get to the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this Wednesday morning before Memorial Day weekend. Let's see what we got going on here. Ranger danger. Womp, womp. Warning, warning. Good morning, everyone. IBH. T-Bro, by the way. I haven't seen you. T-Bro, nice to see you, pal. IBH, good morning. Ranger is crushing it. Absolutely. April. Morning, fam. Good morning, April. Ranger is a beast. Hells yeah. Chooch.0. Chooch.0. What are we talking about with Chooch.0? I don't get the reference. Like Carlos Ruiz? IBH, by the way, great job. Oh, post-game show. Thank you, IBH. Really enjoy it. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's very nice. Locked On Sports Philadelphia. That's Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Make sure you guys subscribe to that YouTube channel for my postcasts, as they're called. Tim M. Shout out to South Philly Pizza Place for free pizza. What the hell? Who's getting free pizza? I want free pizza. Sean Kilrain, good morning. Ranger Suarez, 136 ERA, lowest by a Phillies pitcher. 10 starts into a season since the dead ball era. Hall of Famer Grover Alexander. Yeah. That is pretty bonkers. Fishing Maniac, where you been? Hey, Lil Toots, she wants to go fishing. She's going to be 5 in August. My father, who we'd always go fishing when I was a kid, loved it. We'd go fishing a lot at St. Mary's in Ambler. It used to be a lake. They drained it. Now, it's actually been drained twice, I believe. But, yeah, it was a big lake. It was a fishing club in Ambler. And, yeah, my dad and I were going all the time. So my dad's having some shoulder problems and some knee problems because, you know, he's old. Anyway, he said, hey, you want to go golfing on Father's Day? And we always golf on Father's Day. I'm like, can you golf on Father's Day? He's like, I'm going to try. I said, Pop, here's the deal. Emanuela wants to go fishing. She's shown some interest in fishing. She's been throwing I got the bobber, the indicator, whatever you want to call it, on the line, no hook, and she just likes throwing it out there and trying to cast it. And she wants to go fishing. Let's go fishing on Father's Day. He's like, oh yeah, I could do that. So NJ Fishing, I know it's NJ Fishing, but I haven't been fishing anywhere around Philadelphia, like within an hour of Philadelphia, in a very long time. I fished up the Poconos a little bit. I actually put that on the show. We videoed that on my kayak. So I need fishing spots, if you can help me out. If you truly are a maniac. Maybe you know a couple places in Philly. I don't know. Where I grew up in Doylestown, Fanny Chapman was this small... We used to joke that it was a stocked pond. It was like 2,000 fish in a puddle, basically. My buddy Mike Beleza would always call it that. But anyway, looking for fishing spots for Lil Toots for Father's Day. Or at least Father's Day weekend. James Alexander, good morning. WC13, what's popping? We rolling right now. Phillies pitching and hitting. Hells yeah. Robert Driscoll. Never heard anything negative about Whitey. Well, good. That's the other thing I don't want to get. I mean, somebody said Richie Ashburn wasn't a good dude. Then whatever. I mean, a lot of people have bad experiences. Fuji! What's going on, Fuji? Power Ranger. Need we say more? Ranger will win the Cy Young. Fujitamas predicts. It's official. Ladies and gentlemen, Fujitamas predicts. What? Come on. I don't want to. All right. I mean, you guys can. I'm not going to tell you guys not to talk about something. I just don't want to get into it because I don't know any details. We choked last year. Looks like we're back and better for what should be, or for what should have been ours, the trophy. Hells yeah. Eagles golden era. All right. Yeah, with the technology nowadays, with flying cars and stuff, they should have that. Did you guys see that Anderson Cooper thing where he got in that? It came up in my algo. I don't know if that's what it's called. I've just heard David Spade call it that, and it's hilarious. But in my algo, the Anderson Cooper thing where he gets in the large drone and flies for like 15 minutes. I don't know, man. I mean, I would love to have a flying car. I don't want the other person having a flying car. Because now it's like I don't know. It's just, it seems wildly. If there's a way they could do it that's somehow a lot safer, I don't know. Just now you're falling out of the sky. I got enough problems being on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I would love it, especially when I live like 7 miles from Center City and it takes me 45 minutes to get there sometimes. Vic with the no bull attitude. Players too soft in Miami. I see no wrong answers. Sean Gillespie, good morning. WC13, I believe Vic when I see it on the field. I'm with you. IBH, I agree with you. I thought seeing them in those positions for the first time was great. I have no complaints whatsoever. I'm talking about the players, hearing the players talk about their first experiences with those coordinators on the practice field. Oh, my God. April, you win. Ricky Wooders would be the worst promposal person. He would stand at the curb and just yell. Ask this girl to the prom for you? For who? For what? For me? For the prom? Please, Mr. Waters? No, we just cut across the middle of the lawn. Ricky Waters doesn't go across the middle. Anyway, sorry. All right, that's my bookie had my account. What? Oh, that's not cool. Sorry to hear that. I'll make a phone call. I'm not kidding, I will. Big Rhythm, Jamie Moyer promposal. Is that your dad? At this point, it might be a grandfather. Ooh, Hunter Renfrow. Yeah, I'd consider it. As someone who, I keep on banging the drum that I'm not that concerned, but Hunter Renfrow might be a really nice addition. Third wide receiver. Yeah, I like that, Sean Kilrain. I would absolutely consider that. Hell yeah. WC, love the dead ball era. Whenever I think of the dead ball or live ball era, I always think of, I forget who it was, what big league pitcher did the imitation of Tim Kirchin on ESPN. This is absolutely incredible. It's the best of the live ball era. I can't do it. The pitcher nailed it. I can't remember who it was. That was fantastic. T-Bro. Farzy, Little Toots tackle box bigger than your pill organizer. Oh, come on, T-Bro. I was on a kayak, for crying out loud. What am I going to have? The actual size tackle box? D-Gun still breaks my balls over that. Steve Graham, Asante Samuel proposal. Do you mean Avonte Maddox? No. Wow. All right, Mike. I think it's funny. Oh, what the hell? I nominate Bill Cosby as the worst promposal. I said Philadelphia sports, and I'm not including Temple football. All right. Thank you. WC worst promposal nominee, Lenny Dykstra. Things are getting real in the chat, folks. Sean Kilrain, I'm working on getting the flux capacitor on my DeLorean, Farzy. I love a good flux capacitor reference. Did I ever tell you guys, my buddy Joe, I've referenced him before. Huge Flyers fan, lives out in Pittsburgh. When he was getting married, he's been married now, holy Stromboli, 15 years almost already. Him and his wife got married like right out of college, pretty much. He was the first of our group to get engaged, and I said to him, I was curious. I was like 23. Couldn't imagine getting married at 23. And I was like, dude, why? I mean, I love Steph. Steph's great, but why get married? Why now? And he said, Mark, you know how I love Back to the Future? And I said, stop right there. Are you about to compare your soon-to-be marriage to you loving Back to the Future? And this is what he said. And this is good for the young kids that might be dating someone they don't know if they want to get married, but whatever. I thought this is great advice. Thank you for segueing this with flux capacitor, Sean Kilrain. My buddy Joe says, well, you know how I love Back to the Future? And I go on. And he goes, I could be snowed in for a long time. And the only thing that I have access to watch is Back to the Future. And I will laugh at the jokes. I'll be intrigued by the punchlines. I'll be intrigued by the storyline. There'll be something that, despite seeing it a billion times, I didn't notice. I'll think about something different, and it just keeps me entertained and it keeps me locked in. And he's like, that's how I look at my relationship with Steph. And I'll never forget, we were at what it was called, The Other Side in Doylestown, this bar, right? Chambers, The Other Side, which was we always thought as kids was like the highfalutin place. And we were sitting there having a beer. And he tells me that. I go, Joe, by golly, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard you say. Knowing the high regard that you have for Back to the Future, this makes total sense as to why you would marry Steph. Now they have 2 beautiful children. They've been married for, I think, 15 years. 15 years. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Is that not a beautiful thing? That's a beautiful thing. So to all the kids out there, picture your favorite movie that you could watch over and over again. And once you find that relationship with someone, in a partner, then all will be right with the world. These are how me and my idiot friends think. Anyway, Jamie Moyer would take until July to get there. Great choice. That is pretty funny. Wow, Big Rhythm TO proposal in the driveway doing sit-ups. Love it. T-Bro, The Other Side, you guys were definitely bombed. No, The Other Side was not where we got bombed. The Other Side was like where you could have a conversation. You would most likely run into a friend's parent, okay? The Amber Inn, that's where you got absolutely poop-faced. Finney's, totally. The Basement at Stephanie's. Mesquite Grill. The Freight House was kind of after my heyday. That really started booming after my heyday, but that's a great spot. These are Doylestown hot spots, people. There was an after-hours club in Doylestown. Oh, damn it. What's the name of it? The Manicore. Wow. I haven't said that name in a long time. The Manicore was the after-hours club. And I remember learning that Doylestown had an after-hours club. And so I still think to this day, an after-hours club at Doylestown? Doylestown knows how to party. Absolutely knows how to party. Anyway, let's get to the morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Thank you. Oh, wait. How dare. Well, Whiskey Tango was not in Doylestown. It was in, I always thought it was in Huntington Valley. It was Northeast Philly is where it was. That's still a place that I'll drive by. Oh, wait. The Other Side has become the basement? Really? T-Bro, I did not know that. It's been a minute since I've been out that way. You know what I mean? For partying purposes. But Fuji, Whiskey Tango, I'll still drive by it, and my wife will just glare at me. And I'll just, because it's not Whiskey Tango anymore. I don't remember what it's called. It's called like the leprechaun's butt. I don't know what it's called now. Anyway, but I'm driving past it. I think it's an Irish pub name now. I don't even know. But I drive by, and my wife will just be like, glaring at me. And she'll just be looking at me. She'll be like, making out with skanks. And I'm like, what are you talking about, skanks? They're fine young ladies. Back in the day. College Mark, on the prowl. Did you ever make it down to Horsham? Oh, no. I know what you're talking about. That's April. That's so funny you just mentioned this. Hold on. I'm not going to screen grab this, but I'm just going to take a picture of this. because my buddies are going to love this. They just brought it up to me the other day because they just said, hey, what was the name of that one club? I don't remember. Chocolate, skanks. April, not Whiskey Tango. Phew, I lost many memories there. We all lost a lot of memories there. Oh, this is... Now, for the record, April and I have not made out. But she's saying that she was one of the lady patrons of Whiskey Tango. Many beautiful relationships started there. Actually, I dated a girl that I met at Whiskey Tango. So there we go. WC Skank life was real and fun. Laugh out loud. Isn't that such a great... Like, guys could be skanks too, right? Ladies, do you guys call us skanks sometimes? You got, that guy's a skank. Does that ever happen? Do you guys use that phraseology? Describing dudes? I say it with love, by the way. I did not expect to use the word skank today. Nor did I expect to tell you about Back to the Future and its relevance to my friend group. Anyway, thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. As per usual, definitely went a lot of directions that time. But let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Oh, my goodness gracious. Philadelphia Phillies back at it 6:40 tonight. Taijuan Walker will be on the bump for the Phillies as they take on the Texas Rangers, now one game under 500. Phillies now 21 games over 500. Pitching change here. Dane Dunning will get the start for the Texas Rangers tonight. Dane Dunning is 3-2 on the season with a 4.10 ERA. On the year, he's coming off a 4 and 2/3 inning performance against the Kansas City Royals in what was a Texas Rangers 15-4 win over the Royals. Did I say that? Yeah, over the Royals. 4 2/3 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, issued 1 walk. That's what he's got going on for himself. Right-handed pitcher, 29 years old. Looks like he is just coming off the 15-day IL. Taijuan Walker gets the start for the Phillies. He's 3-0 in his 4 starts since coming back with a 4.91 ERA. After taking the ball off his toe, Taijuan Walker ain't missing a start, baby. He's going out there. He's making the start tonight. So we'll see how all that works out this evening. Thanks for Boston Celtics. They beat the Indiana Pacers last night in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Yes, I've seen it. Yes, I don't like it, but it's true. TJ McConnell has now been to more Eastern Conference Finals than Joel Embiid. Doesn't make you feel good. Doesn't make you feel good even a little bit. But last night, the Boston Celtics won in overtime 133-128. Jason Tatum dropped in 36 points. He had 10 of his 36 in the overtime period. 10 points in 5 minutes is pretty good. Also, it's the first time a trio of Celtics, in this case, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Jaylen Brown, combined for 90 points. It's the first time that's happened in a playoff game for the Celtics since Bill Russell was playing for him. I believe the specific year is 1966. That's pretty incredible. As for TJ McConnell, he came in off the bench, got 13 points for you on 6 of 11 shooting. And that's what he did for the Pacers last night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be back with you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Philadelphia's postcast of Phillies and Rangers. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel for yours truly. Also, plenty of more Philadelphia sports content. Also, like and subscribe to the Farzy Show as well, and Jacob Media also. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys tonight.